What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the JJ Pillar Podcast. I'm excited to be here with you talking again about some ideas that I think can be really, really helpful. If you're someone that feels stuck or slow in the progress that you're making, or not feeling fulfilled, or not feeling excited about where you are in life or about life generally speaking, I want this episode to help you to get unstuck, to start making forward progress, and to be re-excited and re-energized about where you are in your life. And the purpose of this podcast show is to truly help people that know they're called here to do something special with their life. They know they've got gifts and talents and skills that they're meant to use, that they're called here for something, to make sure that you keep moving forward towards your big dreams and your big and exciting goals. Because I believe that when more people do the work that lights them up and brings them alive, we will create an even more exciting world for even more people. And what I mean by that is when you do work that lights you up, you bring more light and joy into the world. And so I think that's good for everybody. And so I've got a few thoughts for you. If you are someone that's stuck or struggling to make the progress you feel like you, quote unquote, should be making, I want to give you some encouragement and some thoughts on where you are right now, especially if you feel stuck in a job or in a situation that is holding you back and you're not excited by. Before we get there, I do want to say, I do want to get back to making regular podcasts. I love sharing thoughts and perspectives on this show in this format, whether it's long-form video or podcasting. I love to just be able to share thoughts, ideas, and perspectives as I'm learning and growing and going through my own life's journey and experiences as a husband to my wife and as a father to my children, my two kiddos that are little, and then also obviously one on the way at this point in time as I'm recording this. And so an expanding family. I've got a professional career that I do full-time, and then also really care about creating content that's totally free for people that need inspired and encouraged and need that lift for themselves on a regular and consistent basis. And so I want to get back to that. I've dropped that for a few months, just lots happening in my life, and I want to get back to doing this because I really am encouraged and inspired when I get messages from people who tell me that they've really appreciated or enjoyed or inspired by or gained some kind of value from the podcast or content that I put out. And so I love making long-form content just like this, and so I want to get back to doing that more consistently. So if you find value in this, please send me a message, find me, send me an email at connect@jjpeller.com, connect@jjpeller.com, or find me on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, and just shoot me a note and let me know that you find this valuable and you're excited that I'm getting back to this, because it'll keep me fueled up to keep doing this. Even when I just get one message from somebody, it's great fuel to keep me going. So I'm going to do it regardless of if I get the messages, but if you want to send me that message, I'd love to get it from you. I was also going to say I'm a big believer in journaling. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk with you about here over the next handful of minutes is stuff that I think about while I'm putting pen to paper. I just got this brand new journal, and I'd been writing on random journals for the past handful of weeks, but it was about time. I'm running out of paper, so I got to get a new actual journal, because I love having actual journals, like high-quality journals, more than just a notebook, although I've just been making it work because I didn't want to have to get a new journal yet, but it's worth it to me. And so I got a new journal, and it just came in the mail, and I'm excited to be writing in this journal. I believe it's an incredibly helpful thing to put pen to paper. So all of that to say, if you're not yet doing journaling, I want to get you hooked on journaling, because I believe that it's therapeutic, it's encouraging, it's inspiring. When you write things in your journal that remind you of who you want to become and what you want to do and your goals and your vision, it fuels you, and it'll remind you of the person you want to become. Because what we say to ourselves in writing starts to become more concrete for ourselves in real life. As an example, for a while now, I've been writing something similar to this, but this phrase specifically for at least a handful of months. I write in my journal at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. I am a powerhouse of passion, positive energy, and enthusiasm. And inevitably, I hear from people that I am a passionate person, or I'm positive, or I've got great energy, or I've got great enthusiasm, or some people have said you're uplifting, or insightful, or inspiring, or motivating. But I write about this stuff. I tell myself who I want to be. And I do that in the form of writing, and I believe it sinks it into me even more thoroughly with greater strength and emphasis by journaling it. And so I simply want to take the moment, because I just got my journal in, to remind you that whatever you want to do or accomplish or achieve, or whoever you want to become, it's really helpful to just start journaling about those things, because it will make it concrete reality for you. It's so funny. I was doing a coaching session a few weeks ago with a group, and someone on the call wanted to make the point and asked everyone, what do you think of when you think of JJ? Or like, what are the words that come to you when you think of JJ? And they said those things: positive, uplifting, inspiring, passionate, enthusiastic. And I was like, it's so funny that you bring that up, because I literally write that to myself every day. I am a powerhouse of passion, positive energy, and enthusiasm. And I say it and I write it with feeling and emotion. And so I connect to it even more thoroughly. And so anyways, I just want to give that as a tip to you. If you're someone that's like, man, I want to become the best version of myself, and this will tie to exactly what I'm going to share with you today. In today's message, I want to be more enthusiastic or more confident or more passionate or more positive, or I want to be someone that stands up for myself, or I want to be more direct, or I want to be transparent in the way I communicate, or I want to be a great persuasive communicator. Whatever it is that you want to become or do or achieve or experience or create for your life, in your life, or for others, or make the contribution in your life, like, start journaling about it. I really believe that it can make a world of difference. And so hopefully that's helpful for you. And today, today I want to talk about specifically, if you're feeling stuck in a job or a situation, it's really easy to dwell on it in a negative way and to look at the situation and feel like, well, this is never going to change. And the reason most people feel stuck, by the way, is they don't see a path forward. Not only do they not see a path forward, they don't even see the next step. So by definition, when you are stuck, you're not moving anywhere. And so what I tell people is, if you truly are stuck, you have to be able to realize that there are many steps that you can take. It doesn't even have to be forward, it just has to be a step. I honestly don't care if it's a backward step, because that still is movement that could give you a different perspective. Like, think about it. If I'm standing right next to a window, if I'm facing away from a window, as an example, and I take a step back, it'll totally change my perspective. And I guess the way I'm thinking about this is, I've got a window in my office here, and if I'm like standing next to it, but my back is to it, but I take a step back, I've now got a totally new perspective. The wall's no longer next to me. The window's next to me. So I can see new things. My perspective changes. And so even if you have to take a step back, sometimes a step in any direction will get you unstuck. And so I'm not a big fan of like continuing to backpedal, because that'll take you to places maybe you don't want to go, or the fact is, when you're backpedaling, you don't see where you're going, and you can trip and fall more easily than if you're moving forward. But nonetheless, my point is, if you are stuck today, you just need a perspective shift. There's a T in that word, JJ. You need a perspective shift. And so the biggest thing I can do for anyone who feels stuck is to help you, if that's you, to see things differently. And so if you are stuck right now, it's not even necessarily about taking a step. It's about seeing where you are differently, if possible. And it is possible, which is cool. And so most people look at being stuck in a job or a situation, and they're like, man, this situation is not changing, or it's never going to change. And they just drill themselves with this negative self-talk of like, it's not changing, it's bad for me. And all they convince themselves of is that the situation they're in is bad. It's negative. It's not helpful. But what I know for certain is that we can, let me put it this way. There's a word, utilization, that I absolutely love. Utilization means you use whatever you've got right now. Use whatever you've got right now, including the situation or job that you're in. So if you've got a certain vision or goals of what you want life to look like or be like, or who you want to become, what you want to do and create and experience in this world, well, guess what? If you're not there yet, you've got to find a way to get there. And the best way to get there into that next level of your life is to utilize whatever situation you're in today. So like, what aspects of your job today can you use to strengthen yourself, to develop the skills, to work on your mindset, to make the connections so that you can get to where you want to go? Like, if you feel like you're absolutely suffering in your life right now, there was a point in time in my career, a certain job that I had, that I really was not a good situation for me. I felt like I was suffering because of a particular person that was just not a great connection for me. And long story short, I ended up doing something differently. But when I look back on that situation, I'm like, I could have utilized that situation way better. I could have developed my confidence. I could have developed my perspective. I could have developed so many other skills in communication and having hard conversations that I didn't, because all I did was dwell on the negative aspect of it instead of the opportunity to utilize that to better myself. I believe that I missed a huge opportunity to get way better at certain skills that could have accelerated my success in my career and my personal life even faster. And I want you to avoid that trap. Don't get trapped into feeling like, well, I am stuck here until someone comes and rescues me and gives me an opportunity that allows me to go and do something else. Or instead of like, oh, I'm just going to put out my resume a bunch of times, or I'm going to tell people I'm just going to dwell here until something pops up. Stop doing that. What you have to do instead, or what I'd encourage you to think about instead, is to use the situation you're in. Like, think about it this way. If the reason you feel stuck or the reason you don't like the situation you're in is because of a bad boss or bad manager, bad team member, how can you find a way to change that relationship? I'm not saying you have, like, maybe that person's just a bad human. But, like, what can you do? How can you own your situation so much that you start to say, I can do something about this. I can be more playful. I can be more positive. I can get curious. I can read books that help me understand how to have difficult conversations. I can listen to JJ's podcast to get me uplifted and inspired and to shift myself and to get a better mindset, to have more confidence. Like, you can become incredible. Like, if you want to be great at having difficult conversations, which is what you'll have to develop if you want to be a great leader in any way, shape, or form, like, great leaders have to become great at having challenging, difficult, sometimes really difficult conversations. And so if you're in a situation right now where you've got a bad boss or bad team member, or people that are just mean or rude or whatever, or they're jerks, what a beautiful time to practice having tough conversations. Oh, and the other skill you can develop in this season of life, in this situation you're in, is empathy. Let's get curious. What makes this person act this way? Now, this would be mind reading, so you can't know for certain maybe, but maybe you have some educated guesses about what's going on in this person's life. Does this person have a challenging marriage right now? Is this person having problems with his or her children, adult children or young children? Does this person have a health issue for a family member that they're having to deal with? Is this person like going through some financial stress or strain that's making them uptight and irritated and like on edge? Because my guess is it's probably not you that makes this person upset and frustrated. And by the way, you could think about this in the professional setting. You can think about it in personal relationships. We very often think that when someone acts negatively towards us or has a bad attitude towards us or treats us in a maybe not so nice way, we think it's us. Or we think it's them, like they're being mean to us. Instead of there's something going on in that person's life that's making that person irritated and frustrated and mean and degrading and demeaning, and that person's taking it out on me because I'm in this person's life and this person feels that he or she can do that. And so what I want to encourage you to start thinking about is, how can you start to see things differently, back to changing perspective, so that you can change the way you interact with people? Because if you can master your ability to deal with difficult people, you're going to be able to handle virtually anything for the rest of your life and career. Like, I don't know about you, but what I've realized is life doesn't get easier just because I get older. In fact, life throws different nuanced challenges or difficulties or circumstances that can be challenging to work through as I get older. Like, I have more opportunities for more people to come into my life or more things to come up the more that I live my life. The same thing's going to be true for you. As an example, I remember when I was in college and I went to a particular college, Wabash College, small private college in central Indiana, and like really difficult, really challenging academically. And for my freshman and part of my sophomore year, I played football. And so I was a student athlete, not getting paid to be an athlete, but just there because it was a Division III school, got to play football. But there's just lots happening, right? Very involved in my fraternity. And so Phi Delta Theta. And so there's just a lot happening. And what that meant was I felt like it was a very difficult time or season of my life. And I remember, like, literally I would close down the library most nights. I would go to the library after dinner, and the library was open until 2 a.m., There were a lot of nights that I stayed at the library until 2 a.m. working on stuff and studying for tests or doing whatever I needed to do. And that might sound crazy to some people, but like that's what I felt like I had to do. Like it was that level of challenge. And like even on Fridays and Saturdays, not every Friday and Saturday, not that disciplined. I wasn't that disciplined, but like even on Fridays and Saturdays, there were nights that I stayed and worked at the library until 10, because I wanted to get stuff done so then I could come back and have a good time and not worry about all the stuff that I needed to work on or study. Like, I wanted to do that level of work. And so my point is, it felt like a really difficult time of my life. And I just remember thinking to myself, man, I can't wait for college to be over because life's going to get so much easier when I no longer have to do all of this studying and stuff. And then I got into a relationship, which was and is amazing, and married my wife a little over 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago. And then we had a child, and then we had 2 children. Now we got a 3rd one on the way. And so, like, life doesn't get easier. I realized life just gets more difficult in different kinds of ways. It's all beautiful. It's all amazing. And it doesn't mean these things aren't necessarily challenging. Why am I saying all of this? I'm saying all of this because I want you to know that if you can handle the tough stuff now, you're going to be better positioned, better equipped to handle the tough stuff that comes along in your life. Whether you're 23, 33, or 53 listening to this episode right now, life will continue to throw things at you that you're going to have to be able to handle. And although today I'm 34, not 54, I can almost guarantee that at 54, there are going to be certain things about life that are going to be easier, but there are going to be certain aspects of life that are just as challenging or new challenges for me that I'm going to have to figure out and take on. And one of those challenges is certainly going to be, how do I handle difficult conversations personally and professionally? How do I communicate with people that aren't the easiest to communicate with? And if you're in a situation that you don't like and maybe even despise the situation, I want to remind you, you have got to use this season or situation in life to develop yourself, to refine your skills, to work on your mindset, to boost your confidence. And you can do it. I know that if you're still watching or listening to this at this point, you are someone that's destined to do something special with your life. Because you wouldn't still be listening to this if you didn't care about breaking through to a new level and being your very best and doing something great with your life. And so I want to encourage you that you can and must use whatever season of life you're in right now to prepare for the next level of success and the next season of life that you're ultimately going to move into. And you will get unstuck if you see the world in a different way and you take action and you get better and you refine your skills. Doors will open, because the better you get, the more opportunities will come your way. I just believe that to be true. But one caveat to all of this, or asterisk, is you must also be working on your attitude. Because you could be the best in the world at your talent or skill, but if you want to attract more of the right people to you, and you want people to open up doors for you and give you opportunities, you got to be the kind of person that other people want to be around. You got to become the kind of person that other people want to help and support and work with. And one thing that most people, generally speaking, want in a person that they work with or hire or have as their person that serves them as a client is a great attitude, enthusiasm, positivity, hopefulness, optimism. People want to be around positive people. And so even and especially while you're in this difficult or challenging season of life and you feel stuck right now, you can work on your attitude. And this sounds so simple and so cliche and so fundamental, but it is a difference maker. If you can work on having a positive, good, hopeful, optimistic attitude, even while going through the difficulties and challenges of life, you, friend, will come out ahead. You, friend, will get opportunities. You, friend, will tap into more of your greatest potential. And if you've enjoyed this message, please do yourself and a friend a favor and send this along to that friend. Help that person to be uplifted or inspired or encouraged or to have the insight or perspective of the message that I just had the opportunity and privilege to share with you. So, friend, as I said, I'm going to get back into doing these on a consistent, regular basis. That's my intent. That's my goal. So I'd love to hear from you. If you're excited about that, please send me a note. Specifically, I'm mostly active on LinkedIn and Instagram. Send me notes there. I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me. And would love to hear what you're working on. And I'd love to hear what other episodes or podcasts or content you'd love for me to talk about. So get your journal. Remember, get your journal. Start writing in your journal. Start writing about the ideas that have come up for you as you've listened to this podcast. And I'd love to be a guide by your side with this podcast. I'd love to give you thoughts and ideas and perspectives that can help you not only get unstuck and not only start to make progress forward, but to truly accelerate your success to new levels, to break through, and to tap into the fullness of who you were created to be so that the world can experience your value. Until next time, friend, be your best. Just keep going. Great things will happen. See you next time.